The million dollar question: how do entrepreneurs transition from self-employed to owning a business that turns a profit? My name is Chris Waters, and this podcast has the million dollar answer. Welcome to CEO Secrets. All right, guys. Hey, guys. It's Chris Waters here live with Dr. Hank. This is CEO Secrets, the podcast where we interview people that are influential in having an impact on leaders in the entire small, medium business sector. Obviously, we have a lot of people that focus in the real estate sector, and I'm super honored and privileged to have Dr. Hank, who is a mental scientist or a mindset doctor. He's published 13 books, and his recent book that he just published is called Your Royal Road to Riches. Dr. Hank, welcome to CEO Secrets. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. And everybody, I'd get a pen and paper out because you'll be writing some stuff. This can literally be a life changer for you on CEO Secrets. It's going to be a fun time, and I can't wait, Chris.
Well, I have so many questions. So I have to ask, at the origin of when you're starting your career, how did you decide to go into this space specifically around helping improve people's mindset and getting into the psychology of helping improve people's mindset?
Yeah, you bet. Well, I was at the University of Wisconsin in Madison and Madtown, and I actually studied there and didn't always party. And,
are you a fan of the Green Bay Packers?
The Green Bay Packer, I am, because I was born in a little suburb of Milwaukee called Wauwatosa, and I'm out of there now, by the way, because it's just way too cold for me. The cold tundra, it's not for me. But I was in the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and I was in my undergraduate degree in business, and I completed that, and I realized that there's more to business than just this. I need to understand people, and so then I went and got my master's in psychology and human behavior. And then I realized that really the name of the game isn't so much necessarily about just doing business or about the people, but where it all really starts is in your mind. And so that's where I took a 4-year program on mental science to understand not the brain, but the mind. The brain kind of does the functions, if you will, of the body, that the mind and our thoughts. And that I found I'm also an ordained minister because I wanted to understand this God thing. And so I went through 4 years to understand, where does God come in? And as a man thinketh in his heart, so shall he be. And none of this stuff made any sense to me. And I've been blessed now to understand literally your path to royal riches, that you can be, do, and have it all, Chris. And for everybody out there, that you can literally have it all. And I have worked literally with thousands of real estate agents, real estate brokers, small and medium-sized companies, as well as Fortune 100 companies. And we travel the world with them, with CEOs, with salespeople, to help them. And basically, if you just follow what I'm going to share with you today, that you literally will become your greatest possibility, and you'll be, do, and have more of the things that you want.
So I don't want to skip too far ahead, okay? So, but I can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious. I kind of tell this story about how when I started building a sales team, this is probably 8-9 years ago, I found myself frequently in a position where I wanted the people on my team to be more successful than they wanted to be for themselves.
Yeah.
And I constantly felt like, I always tell the story of feeling like I'm pushing a boulder up Mount Everest. Yeah. And I started researching psychology, and I have no background in psychology. Yeah. I got a degree in finance, and it's just not my thing. And so I started researching online, and I read this medical journal or this article, and it talked about how professionally trained psychologists, they can take people through a process called cognitive behavioral therapy. Mm-hmm. And if they take a client through this, within 2 to 5 years, they could help somebody overcome some limiting beliefs or like personal barriers in their life or whatever's going on in their head, like holding them back. And I read that and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't have 2 to 5 years. Wait for somebody on my team to be successful. And I'm not a licensed professional. Like, I could not help someone, I can't be their shrink. Like, I need to perform right now. I can't wait 2+ years.
Yeah, well, that is so funny, Chris, because I actually have a product that is available and for a very reasonable price. I would have, like, a corporate America would pay me $25,000 to work with one person, if you will. Well, I've been able to, because of technology and everything, get this down to mainstream it for like $197. And so what's funny about this is, you said 2 to 5 years, that my process is also actually called 7 days to morebusiness.com. And within 7 days, because I know how to tap into the subconscious mind, change those beliefs, open you up into a state of allowing, and to be able to have things just come out of magically out of the blue to you. And so, like, my agents do at least $10 million every year because of just magical sentences that I have that will change their lives. And by the end here, we'll get into a magical sentence, and I'll help everybody.
So tell me what is like the therapy or the process you take through, like, to help people, overcome whatever limitations they're having?
Yeah. So, and again, if anybody has questions as I'm going along, because I'm going to briefly be doing this, I have invested years of studying and then years of experience, over 30 years, on helping people become their greatest possibility. So if you have any questions, just slow me down, whatever. But here's how it really all plays out. Most of us have heard that thoughts become things. And in fact, thoughts are things. And so if we'll think about like your thought as a seed, and you're planting that into the soil. And so if you could plant that into the fertile soil with no weeds, but that's the issue. We have these weeds on these beliefs that get in the way, with no weeds at all, that what will happen, just like the farmer goes out and plants the seeds of the corn and goes back into the farmhouse knowing that corn is going to grow. What has happened with us is we plant these seeds, and then we either talk ourselves out of it, or other people talk ourselves out of it, and we go out to the field and we dig up that seed and we say, why aren't you growing? And so what that is, that's doubt. And so because of that when you try to go find that seed and dig it up, then what happens is it doesn't grow any longer. And so I literally know how to tap into the subconscious mind. But before I get there, I'll share what scientists, so some people say, oh, Dr. Hank, you're in la la land, even though you can get amazing results for people. And so some people actually call it Dr. Hank's la la land. And it's actually a place that we all want to be. Because here's how, what backs this isn't just my opinion or my experience of the experience of thousands of people, but it is scientists within the last 5 years have come to agree on how all things happen. In other words, how all things are created, how that when you ask, you shall receive. And so basically, these are the 3 steps that the scientists said. Now, they forgot God, and I include God, but here's the 3 steps that's all microbiologists, quantum physicists, they've all agreed on this, that the first step is thought. Thought creates everything. So it is our own powerful thought. And Chris, that's why I love that you have the name of your show is CEO Secrets, because the fact is that all of us are CEOs. We're the CEOs of our life, and we are so with our thoughts. So step 1 is our thoughts. And then according to the scientists, those thoughts create energy, and then that energy creates matter. So that's why, M-A-T-T-E-R, okay? So that's why thoughts become things. But more powerfully is that actually thoughts are things. As you're thinking things, that is creating the energy that then creates the results that you have in your life.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
So number one is thoughts. Two is, and what was that?
Energy.
Two is energy. And
Your
then,
thoughts create energy, and then that energy, again, using the terminology of the science, creates matter, matter. And or another way of putting that is that my thoughts create the energy that then creates my increased sales, my better business, my better health, my better relationships, you name it, that you can do it. But see, we don't believe we're that powerful. We think that there must be something in the way, because all of us can say, hey, I've asked for stuff, and now I'm asking, where's my stuff? And so, did I really, how can this be? I asked and I didn't receive. And that's where it's actually 5 steps. And so not to get too involved in this, but it's easy 5 steps. This is how it plays out, folks. This is how life plays. It can play for you. Step 1 is your thought, just like the scientist step. Step 2 is that thought creates energy. So you don't have to do anything. It's just your thought. Out of the 5 steps, you only need to do 2 steps. That first step, thinking, and those thoughts automatically create energy. And that energy is like a signal to the universe or to God. And basically, the universe or God, depending on what your belief system is, that God receives your thoughts, your prayer, and then immediately responds. And so everything that you and I have asked for are literally in a vibrational form sitting there for us to allow it in to be able to experience it. So the 5 steps: my thought creates energy, that energy goes to God, my prayer is answered. But step 4, and this is where all of us have gotten caught up in, is step 4 is our beliefs. And that's where you were talking about. And then step 5 is, I receive it, I manifest it, I have it in my life, I have better health, more business, more sales, whatever the case may be. And so, but that step 4 is what you were talking about is, it takes 2 to 5 years or whatever for some psychologists to be able to figure out how to get into that step 4 in your beliefs. And so what step 4 actually is your subconscious mind. And so we have actually 2 minds. We have our conscious mind, which is actually only there to identify what we want. It was never intended to use our small little minds to do the work. As Christ said, the Father does the work. So all we have to do is ask and then receive. But what happens is we try to figure out how to do it with our conscious mind. So we have 2 minds, conscious mind and subconscious mind. And just at this point, I want to stop and see if anybody, make sure everybody's following us, because next I'm going to get into the subconscious mind. And does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, so I guess one thing I'll add, and I've done a lot of research and I've read a lot about the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind.
Awesome.
And one of my, there's some really hard books that, the books are hard to read and follow because they're very a lot of scientific stuff written in there about the brain. But one of my favorite books that really simplistically explains the difference between your conscious and subconscious mind is called The Ant and the Elephant. And it says, your conscious mind, it's a great little story. It's a quick read. Yeah. And, it compares, basically the thesis of the book is your conscious mind is an ant sitting on top of an elephant.
Right on.
And an ant is not going to control the elephant.
Right.
So, and it talks about how the ant, when it gets into this negative mindset, it starts planting these weeds in the garden, if you will. Yeah. And it starts moving the elephant in the wrong direction. Right. When it has blind faith and it just reaffirms what it wants, the elephant goes in the direction that the ant wants it to go. Yeah. And so if for those of you guys, for people watching this that are like me and don't have a psychology background or don't quite understand the conscious and subconscious, That's probably been one of the easiest books to read, and like really simplistically helps you understand the difference between the conscious and subconscious. So the thing I hope to extract out of you is like, how do you, I've read stuff about like how to access your subconscious mind. Like, there's that book written by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And in the book, he talks about right before you go to sleep, you're the closest to accessing your subconscious mind, and that's the time to be reaffirming your goals and the things you're trying to achieve and the results you want. Yes. So, like, what can you share with us, like how you access your subconscious mind so that you can ultimately get the results you want?
Yeah. And so that's a great description on everything that you have, because it is true. On the ant is very small, my conscious mind, and then the elephant is very big. But there's one little thing that I just want to tweak on that is, and you actually said part of this, but the ant actually directs the elephant. And so, because when the ant was thinking negative thoughts, then the elephant started to move in a negative way. And so let me rephrase that and make it, I think, a lot easier and simpler for all of us to understand. So the subconscious mind has recorded, since conception of each one of us, every feeling we've had, every thought we've had, and every experience we've had. And the subconscious mind has an opinion of every subject under the sun due to those feelings, due to those thoughts, due to those experiences. And where we all get hung up, and where these psychologists that you were saying takes 2 to 5 years, is to try to dig up let's use money. Money is a great example. All of it, money is as easy to have. I'm independently wealthy, so I walk the talk here. I'm independently wealthy. At the time, I travel the world, blah, blah, blah. And so I know how money plays. And so, but I had to play with my own mindset to understand, because my subconscious mind, and in some ways, probably all of us on this show today, that we have some negative thoughts about money. Starters, money's tough to get, when really money is as easy as the breath and is as abundant as the breath we breathe. And we don't, I'm not talking to you right now, Chris, and say, Chris, quit breathing so much. There's just not enough air around here for both of us to have. That there's plenty, but we think that way in money. And here's kind of why that has happened. And so our dominant opinion in our subconscious mind, for most of us, isn't a very positive opinion. Why? We've been brought up with misunderstandings, for example, of biblical quotes. There's a biblical quote that says the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, at Christ's time, that wealth was demonstrated by the number of sheep you had. So it's like, please don't tell me, well, first of all, we don't have to carry around sheep under our arm, right, to exchange, for a Starbucks coffee or whatever. And so now we have, just more efficient ways to do it. But back in that time, certainly they weren't saying, the Bible wasn't saying, those sheep are the root of all evil. Okay. They for sure weren't. And then we were taught things like, the filthy rich, okay, and things like, what do you think? Money doesn't grow on trees? And see, I lived in Florida, and you bet money grows on trees. Billions of dollars of oranges, grapefruit, trees, all kinds. So these dominant, and now this is the real kicker here, that and a couple things on this, so just imagine that your dominant thought now on money, because see, especially when you were a child, and if your parent or, your teacher, or maybe your peers told you something, that you were pretty easily able to just accept that and right into your subconscious mind. And so what happened was that we all have certain beliefs that prevent us, that inhibit us from having the things that we desire. And so money is one of those things where most think they don't have enough money, that money is tough to get, that it's hard to do. So what has happened is these dominant thoughts, opinions of every subject under the sun can also be called your beliefs. And to try to dig up your beliefs in your subconscious mind, you can be there forever, literally trying to dig up, well, why did that happen? Why did you think that? And why did you think that? And that's what a lot of psychologists do. They put you on a couch and you can sit on that couch for years and try to dig up all this stuff that you don't want.
So you gotta tell me, what's the hack? Like, what's the hack to get my belief system changed? Beliefs?
Oh, Chris, you are just too darn anxious, or you just want to get to the bottom line, man. Don't tell me about how bad it is, where it came from. I don't give a hoot. I just want to know, where is my stuff? And there we are again. Where's my stuff?
What's the hack, man?
Where's my stuff? So here is the answer. And so Napoleon Hill, for example, I actually wrote a book called Think, Feel, and Grow Rich, which was based on his 13 steps that he had identified, and it included the subconscious mind. But what happened with him is he had the word vibration written in that book, and so the editors said, people just can't handle this. This was in the 1930s. They can't handle this. So they took out the word vibration. In other words, this energy that I'm referring to right now, they took out that word. And so anyway, so that's why I updated, that book. But what you were saying about Napoleon Hill, yes, one of the ways is right before bed. But it's magical sentences that you need to say. So yes, those are good times when you wake up in the morning, but it has to do with the words that you're using. So the reason why, people were taught, hey, use affirmations and I am wealthy. Well, here's the secret. The reason why, no matter how many times you said, I am wealthy, the conscious mind said, I am wealthy, and the subconscious mind said, bullshit. Okay, because the subconscious mind said, hey, you're not wealthy. Look I know what your balance is in your checking account. I know what's coming in the future. That, that's not true. And so because of those predominant beliefs that you can't do that. So you need to use soft and gentle words to be able to do it. And again, I'm known for these magical sentences. I'll help real estate agents, like if they're having a deal went south and they ask me, or it's been extended, like I just had a $1.5 million deal, and one of my agents just keep on going. It was 4 months, and they finally texted me and they said, hey, I need a magical statement to get into my subconscious mind to be able to move this along. I gave them that sentence, and that next Wednesday they had an agreement, and then they closed, within a month after that. They had a signed agreement within days, whereas 4 months they couldn't do it. And so we first have to understand the power of our subconscious mind. And it
sounds like power of words, right? Because you're saying there are words that can positively impact your subconscious mind.
That's correct. And so, but to understand what words are just articulated thought. And that's why in the Bible and elsewhere it says your words are very powerful. Well, this is why when you then state it, you're even more powerful. So on these magical sentences that I'll have people to, and again, by the time we're done, I'll give everybody one of my magical statements. It'll increase your business, as easy as that, and it'll do it. It's already starting to play out on you. And see, I don't use the word work because work is a low vibrational word. And so I use the word play all the time. And so that I'm starting to get into your subconscious minds right now, that you're starting to wake up and say, wow, yeah, I just need to be a little bit easier on myself. I need to say a little bit easier words. So I am, even though those are the most powerful 2 words you can use in the English language, that usually doesn't work because I have to get agreement between my conscious mind and my subconscious mind. So
let me interrupt you. How do I get a list of high vibrational words?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. I love that. So I have a process, and part of it's called Top Performers. I've used it in corporate America with CEOs to real estate agents, and in that is your emotional intelligence and EQ, and we're not going to get into any of that. And I know how to measure all that and everything for people, but and I have diagnostic tools, by the way, that can measure your talents to the 10th of a point, and all kinds of things that are helpful for salespeople but as we look into the emotions that so if you understand this, you will understand part of life, and I'll give you the other part here in a minute. But so it kind of happened like this. Before we came here, we're sitting there talking to God. And again, it kind of happened this way, okay? And we're talking to God, and we say, so when we come back down here again to this beautiful world of contrasts, as everything we want, everything we don't want, and when we do that, how are you going to guide me? Like, how are you, and it's my God, my being also my subconscious mind, so how are you going to guide me? And is it going to be English? Is it going to be Spanish? And God laughs and says, oh, no, dear son, daughter of mine, that I love you so, and I'm going to use the perfect way of communicating so you're always on your lighted path. And you go, oh, Father, thank you so much. What is that way? And God says, it's with your feelings. And when you feel bad, that means that you're not thinking about this subject, whatever subject it is, the way I am. But when you feel good, that you're on your lighted path. And so think about that. And if we will just be more concerned, and I'd have everybody write this down, that my number one priority is every day, every moment of every day, is how I feel. If I'm feeling good, I guarantee you that you'll continue to get more and more of the things that you want. We've actually been taught beliefs on don't pay attention to your feelings and use your analytical mind and all these things. And so it takes you off the path. So start paying attention to your feelings. So back to your question, what kind of words are they? Well, let's start with what to stop doing. Stop using the word work, okay? Work's no fun. That's not a fun word. Replace it with play, okay? And so, hey, let's see how this plays out. Today I'm going to go off and play, because when you do that, it lightens up and you come out with a new vibration that will attract, because this is a world that we live in of insertion, that of attraction. Nothing just comes inserted to us. The bad deal or the bad client or the argument, that just didn't come to you, and it wasn't your fault, if you will. We attract everything. And so if you're not feeling very good, you're going to start attracting cooperative components that don't make you feel good. So if you say play, that's one way. Think about having more fun. We were intended, and just imagine this, Chris, that we were intended to just walk through this corridor of joy at life, okay, and have the doors of prosperity just swinging wide open for us. And that's the life we can live, but it is a matter of how you're thinking. So people say to me, it can't be, because I've asked and asked and asked, and I'm still not getting my stuff. And so here's why that is, I'll use colors for that. So let's say you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, I want to have a beautiful day, and I want to have more business opportunities, and I want to do good in my sales, and I want to feel good, and I want to have deep, meaningful relationships, and I want to attract delicious and healthy food. So let's call that yellow, okay? And so that's just yellow, and it's just beautiful. But in the day, you think about, oh, that deal that went south. And so then you start thinking about that. And then you think about, man, you're not feeling as good as you wanted to because of whatever you maybe did yesterday or ate yesterday or whatever. And then, you run into somebody that you had a fight with before, and that wasn't very good. And so you start observing these things and thinking about these things. And let's call that red. And so you were thinking about yellow. Now you're thinking about red. And when you mix yellow and red, you get orange. And then you say, I didn't ask for oranges, but the fact is, we all what we ask for. And so we want to be careful on stop paying attention to all the stuff you don't like, you don't want, that you don't feel good about. Just stop paying attention to it and only pay attention to those things that you desire, and you will have everything that you want.
If there's, what would you say are like the biggest hot button words people use that put them in a negative mindset?
Yeah.
What are the biggest hot button words? You mentioned work. What are some of the other hot button words people use that are negatively impacting their mindset and they may not even be aware of? Like top 5 hot button words.
Things are going to be really hard for me today. You know, it's going to be tough, hard. And then it's more thought forms. So instead of thinking of words, think of thought forms. It's, boy, I sure hope that listing presentation doesn't go south. Well, what you're doing is you're vibrating at the deal going south. And so my hands are down, way down here, okay, because it's a low vibration. And so you're actually creating what you don't want. So you have to be thinking, what am I really asking for in this moment? If you're saying, I want more money, then what you're really saying is, I don't have enough money. And then God will answer you with not enough money.
Well, if I'm like interpreting what you're saying correctly, you've got, like, for example, if you have 2 salespeople going on a listing appointment to win a listing, and one salesperson, like their true belief system is they want to make a lot of money. They're going on that appointment. They're thinking, I'm going to crush this. I'm like, I ain't walking out of this door without a signed listing agreement. And then the other guy is thinking about money, but his belief system is like that he can't have it for whatever reason. And he's like, oh man, I hope I do good on this. Like, I hope they don't ask me something I don't know. Like that guy goes in it an anxiety-ridden mess and walks out without the listing.
And so it's a good analogy. And again, I just want to tweak it a little. And it's these little tweaks that will be so helpful for all of us that, the guy that says, I'm getting this thing and everything, you don't need to be that way, folks. Okay. In fact, I'd encourage you to be easier on saying things like this. So let's just use a listing presentation. It could be anything, but thoughts like this, that I'm going to have just a wonderful time with these people at this listing presentation. We're going to enjoy each other's company. They're going to really appreciate and like what I have to say. I'm going to really like them. We're going to find a lot of things in common. By the time I leave there, that we're all going to really feel good. And see, that's why people buy, if you will. It's really their feelings. They'll just use their mind to analytically give an excuse on why they made the decision, either to or not to, depending if they're feeling good about you or feeling bad. And that's where this idea of, if people like you, they'll buy from you. It's more on, hey, have them feel good. And the way to do that, and so I call it pre-paving, that, see, if you just, and so it's PRE-PAVE. So if you just, wake up in the morning and go to the listing presentation, who knows what you'll get? Maybe it'll go good, maybe it won't. But we each have the power to be able to say, hey, this listing presentation is going to go great. I'm going to have a great time. We're going to enjoy each other. Now, the watch out is, don't be telling God what to do. Okay, so, they're going to sign this deal and they're going to sign it for X number of dollars. When you get too specific, you're getting into God's world. You just ask God, hey, you want to have a good time? As you do. You want to feel good. You want to make those people feel good. Because really the bottom line on all of our desires, everything that we want, is because when we have it, we think we'll feel better. It's all about the feeling, because that's our connection with God, is that feeling. And so, folks, if you just got that statement, like, you're on your path. and you can start skipping along in that, hey, I'm going to the most important thing is today is that I want to feel good. And then I'm going to start pre-paving every episode that happens in my life. So if I'm going to go have dinner, I'm going to pre-pave that, hey, my travels are easy. And so don't use the word traffic. So you're talking about words you want. If you say traffic right away, traffic, that's not very good. But I say my travels are smooth and easy. Okay. And then all my travels, yes.
And so, okay, so basically there's, what I just articulated was two extremes of the spectrum.
Yeah.
One with the negative mindset, one with that's a little too hardcore.
Sure.
And the central one that you're advocating is to detach from the outcome and just think about having a great experience and like guiding the clients in the best direction for them. And, just trying to help facilitate a positive meeting, and the outcome you have no control over, and but you are going to control, having a positive experience with the people and getting to know them and connecting with somebody new.
You bet. So, and so let's go back to, because I know everybody, is saying, hey, I'm just kind of like you did, Chris. I just want to tap into my subconscious mind and, a couple minutes and get this baby done with and get what I want.
Put some wires up to my brain and let's do this.
And so we will. And but a little background, so because really that I could just spit out stuff, but if you don't embrace it and don't realize and understand the impact and why it is, so we want to use easy words. So I am a wealthy, or I am healthy when currently you aren't. That your subconscious mind just isn't going to buy into that, and so you want to use words such as I easily. Okay, or I accept, I am prepared. And so just some easier words that will help you to penetrate into the subconscious mind. So what did I share? I shared with you that in the subconscious mind that it has recorded every thought you've had, every feeling you've had, every experience you've had. So to get in there and change those beliefs, because remember, it is done unto you as you believe. Now there's another quote in the Bible that says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And when you think about that, you think like, what's this thinking about the heart? And literally, that's why I went to seminary school, is pretty much on that one quote. What does that mean? Okay, because I'm thinking with my brain, the ant, okay, but what's my heart? Is it this thing pumping? But my heart is actually my subconscious mind. And so as I think it in my subconscious mind, that so I shall be. And it is done to me as I believe. Well, my beliefs are buried into my subconscious mind. So whatever you can start feeding into your subconscious mind, that is something it can accept, that you will literally instantly can start changing the results that you have in your life and the outcomes and the manifestations that you're looking for in your life. So, so there's some principles behind this. First of all, it's called spaced repetition, that you want to be able to say this magical sentence that I'm going to give you in a minute here, that you want to be able to say that many times per day. And the magic number is 21. And 21 is really, it has spiritual context. In 7 is a spiritual number, and 3 is, and 7 times 3, do those 7 times those 3, mind, body, spirit, or spirit is also feeling, spirit equals feeling. And so 21 times per day is one of the keys. Typically the best time, first thing in the morning. Why? Because your conscious mind isn't going and trying to, create, I got this problem and I got this, it's a rainy day. And really we think so many negative things, like we're so blessed, yet we think, that we have all these problems, and really we're all just so blessed and we have so much. So what this will do is when you wake up first thing in the morning, you don't have too much resistant thought, too much negative thought. And so thus you're more in a state of allowing. And so if you could do, so one is spaced repetition, so you got to do it 21 times, the magic sentence. Then the other thing is what I call multi-sensory impact, and I've been teaching this for years, that to get into that subconscious mind. God bless you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
If you
my mind is like cranking right now, trying to think of all these if-then scenarios of like how to implement.
Just relax, be easy, just flow in my words, that they'll flow right into your mind and your subconscious mind, and all will be well. Don't be trying to figure it out with that aunt of yours.
My aunt is extremely buff, man. He's like, he's like, I'm gonna move this elephant.
Relax. So back to multisensory impact. So I want you to use your 6 senses, and most everybody says, hold on, I only have 5 senses. I got the smell and the see and the touch and the hear, and so what, what's that and taste, and then what's the 6th one? And the 6th one, and really the key one, is your feelings. To really be able to say this with feelings. And when you can feel it, you'll then be able to see it. And so a way to multi-sense it, to get this multi-sensory impact, is to write it down. So if you will take and write down first thing every morning, and take about 10 minutes, 21 times.
I'm writing this down.
This made you very good. Very good. That's what I asked in the beginning, is I'm telling you that if you do that, because if you just hear this once, and I would actually suggest for all of you to watch this recording several times, because it's a mind changer. I have one more thing after this that I want to share with you about life, but you get that, and you basically will understand how life plays, your role in it, and how you can get more of everything that you want. Okay? So, so multi-sensory impact, and so I want to write it down. And also, if I can, first thing in the morning, I want to write it down 21 times. I want to say it with feelings. Writing it, that way you're going to see it, you're going to feel it, you're going to touch it, okay? And, and you really just want to really get into it. This isn't a race to, Dr. Hank told me 21 times and then I'm going to make $1 million. Okay, this is you just gently having it flow in your subconscious mind, and then also to speak it out loud. So as you write it, speak it out loud 21 times. And this is all ways to do it. Now,
hold on. So I got to make sure I got all this. So, and I love this because I remember reading in that book, Think and Grow Rich, what he said is like, the words alone are not enough. Like when you say like an affirmation, for example, the words alone are not enough. You have to literally feel like you already have it to really affect your subconscious mind. So you said, touch it, see it, feel it, speak it out loud, and write it down. What was the last one?
21. So write it down 21 times.
Okay.
And so, and you have that, and to really be able to feel it, that's the main one. And then here's the real kicker, and kind of why they're called magical sentences, is it's the words that you choose. And so there are, if you're being high, hey, I'm going to get $100 million, in the lottery tomorrow, that, we're back to your subconscious mind going bullshit.
So let's say your goal is $100 million. Yep. Like, how do you change that from a wording perspective to help positively impact your subconscious?
You know what? That's a great one. And we're going to actually use that on money. And so first of all, that you can have that $100 million goal, but you're not going to be using that every time. You can actually, a real good way is if you say that, I desire $100 million, I would write that on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and know that that's coming, and just have belief that that's coming. But if you say that affirmation, you're just going to run up against, because the people, when I'm in my seminars, in fact, I have a seminar in Dallas, if anybody wants to, on Saturday morning, the 16th, on Saturday the 16th. And I do all kinds of, seminars, and I do some coaching I travel a lot. So, but, I do some of that. But my book, a good one, if you can be exposed to my books, it's another good way. And they're on Amazon or whatever. And you can contact me, and really easy email is drhank@drhank.biz, B-I-Z, so Dr. Hank at drhank.biz. But back to this $100 million. So here's the magical sentence for more money. And so you will get to that $100 million as long as you believe you will. But it's one step at a time. And so God will lead you right to, in perfect portions and perfect timing, everything you want. And just a few more words around money is that, people think, there's not enough money. Well, do you know there were no billionaires at all in the world, just 50 years ago, okay? And now there are, I think, 1,200 billionaires, okay? Well, where did the money come from? Did we import it from, some other planet or something? No, that we created. We are the creators, and each one of you are creators of your own experience. And so everything that you have. And so I'm going to still hold off on giving you that magical sentence, because I know everybody just wants to write that down and then go do it. In fact, I had a lady write down one of my magical sentences, and her son, she had an older son, and the son said, "Hey, my mom's writing this 42 times every morning." And I go, "Why 42 times?" "Well, that's double the 21, so they think that they're going to get it twice as fast." And I said, "She's working against," in this case, I'm using the word work, because she's working against herself. She's trying to push, and what this is easy. This is, as you quiet your mind and you just take this sentence, that I easily accept new prosperity thoughts, and I am prepared to increase my income now. Boom. That's it.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah. I easily accept new prosperity thoughts, and I am prepared to increase my income now. And that magical sentence, and again, I have a whole list. I just channel on what would be right for this audience, right now. And so that's a perfect sentence in order to do that. But let's take a look at that sentence and kind of dissect it, if you will. So I easily accept, easily accept new prosperity thoughts? No problem. Right? I mean, yeah, I easily accept. The subconscious mind says, bring it on. I easily accept new prosperity thoughts. And I am prepared. Yeah, I'm prepared to increase my income now. Okay. And again, I have all kinds of different, I literally have an infinite number of, depending on your circumstance and situation and where you are, and that you can, you literally, like if you're in real estate, that, you could just text me at any time. If you go to hankwebinar.com is where you can see those 5 steps. And one of those, the first one is mindset. And I'll give you can, contact me anytime if you're having a challenge managing your people. And that's a whole nother thing that we could get into, is that you were taught, and everybody believes, you can't change other people. And that's just not true. And I'm going to give you an example here in a minute of that. But before I do, questions, comments?
Yeah, let me go through the questions here, see what you're asking.
So I use accept new prosperity thoughts. Yeah, subconscious mind says, cool. And I am prepared to increase my income now. Yeah, you're prepared to increase your income now versus, hey, I got $100 million or whatever. It just would throw out. And if you do that 21 days and 21 times each day, that you'll have it. And again, remember that that 7 days to more business.com actually has the whole process. So that'll just keep on building your income and other, magical sentences on it.
So is changing somebody's beliefs just a function of helping giving them like the magical sentence, for example, and also leveraging the multi-sensory exercise of touch it, see it, feel it, speak it out loud, and write it down 21 times? Like, is that kind of the formula to help somebody with limiting beliefs to change their belief system to help them with whatever limitation?
Yes. And now there are other ways. This is the most effective, or one of the most effective ways. I also have what's called paraliminals, and they go beyond NLP, and they literally just soaks into your subconscious mind. These paraliminal tapes. I have meditations also that do that, and then other techniques that, because we're all different, sometimes there's other techniques. The magical sentences work that it is effective with everybody. Anyone that does what I ask them to do. That I've had people, they resist their own good. They continue to fight for their lack and limitation. And so I don't want any of you to do that anymore. And so, I've had people say, oh, but, I get writer's cramp. And I go, no, that's just a thought cramp. You're having a problem doing it. So people come up with excuses, and that's where we just stop the excuses. We say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this for a week. And then I'm going to see these results, because this plays out. I've literally done this with thousands of people, and we'll do it with thousands of more people. And again, really, it can be for any business, anything. One of my niches is real estate, and so for real estate agents and brokers, that I can do it. But this is it. And the cool thing is most of us have believed that there's this outside world that we have to go manipulate. And you don't have to manipulate anything in the outside world, that it's all an inside job. It's within your heart. As you think it in your heart, which is as you think it in your subconscious mind. And then the subconscious mind is all powerful. It will create everything that it accepts as a belief, as your belief, as the ant's belief. So the ant runs everything. It's the director, and the subconscious mind receives it. But what has your conscious mind been feeding it? So let me give you an example.
This is, for a lot of people that are probably listening to this, I know there's a lot of people out there that have read books like the book called The Secret. And I know a lot of people, advocate to their salespeople about how powerful their thoughts are. But it's like when you're in a challenging situation, frustrating situation, it's hard to remind yourself to be self-aware of your thoughts, to try to prevent those weeds from growing in your mind. In those heated moments, it's tough.
So let me help you. You just used two words that I never want you to use again. The word hard and it's tough. When you say it's hard and tough, it is. You're just taking that from your experience. And when I'm saying it's everybody, okay, that's listening here, that we're taking from our previous experience. And then we say, this is how it is. And we say, this is how it's going to be forever. And if you say that, it will. So you want to say, hey, this is going to be easy from here on out. That it's going to be easy. So let me give you, and so this is one of the other main points of life for all to understand. So we were brought into this world, and we couldn't wait to get here because it has perfect contrast. And by contrast, I mean this world has everything we want and everything we don't want. There will always be a poverty. There will always be the rich. There will always, because we get to choose, and this world has it all. And without this contrast, it would be impossible to grow and expand all that is. The mantra for God is more. And for us, we're the happening people. Each one of you are so important to the growth of the entire universe, for God, for all that is. And that the way to get that growth is through this contrast. So when you brush up against something you don't like. So Chris, you just had mentioned, hey, there's a situation and it really is tough, and it's unwanted, because really everything is just wanted or unwanted in this world. We say good or bad or whatever, but really it's just unwanted and unwanted. And so we're talking about this situation. And when you talk about that situation, whatever you focus your attention on grows. So when you pump energy into that situation, you're not only going to have that situation be tough and difficult and hard to deal with, that you're going to attract more situations like it. So what my counsel to you to do is, and if you will embrace this, you will be happy forevermore, that when you brush up against contrast, the things you don't like, a deal went south, a person, you got into an argument, whatever that is, what you do is very gently, you gently point to that, and you just say to yourself, this is what I don't want. And then you do the important function that your mind, conscious mind, is there for. And you say, you ask, what do I want? And when you ask, you are asking God and all that is, infinite intelligence, what do I want? And you will start receiving answers, thoughts, people, circumstances that will change that event, that circumstance, that person to the way that you want them. And so again, no energy. And so when I was a kid, I heard in the Bible, again, well, I went to seminary school, but just didn't understand some of this stuff. When I was a kid, my father was pretty abusive. I wrote a book called The Happiest Man in the World, and this story is in it. And my father was pretty physically and emotionally abusive as a child. And so when Christ said, when you get slapped, just turn the other cheek, I figured he was talking about like when my dad slaps me, I just turn the other cheek and let him hit my other cheek, okay? But what it meant, and so just really, you're going to be enlightened by this understanding right now, everybody, that when you're looking at something you don't want, turn your other cheek. And what that means is don't put any more energy into that and turn the other cheek to what you do want. Now, let me give you an example in this world on how this really happens, and it's breast cancer. People are fighting against breast cancer. We don't want breast cancer. We don't want it. And every time, remember, whatever you focus your attention on grows. Well, what has happened to breast cancer? It's grown. And it's not some contagious disease or whatever, or anything like that. What it is it's dis-ease. And when we find the cure for that, we'll have some other disease because we're at dis-ease, and we'll have the next thing. So there was polio, now that's healed, now there's, cancer, whatever, and that will be. So stop fighting against anything, because whatever you focus your attention on grows. So that's why no more energy into that. This is what I don't want. The deal went south. That's what I don't want. What do I want? I want really wonderful deals. I want wonderful clients. I want closings that are on time or even early. I want them to be more and more in dollar value and more commissions. And I want my clients to have good credit and plenty of cash. And you have to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, you're not going to get for it. But what we have been done, we literally are kind of in just a hypnotized state of, oh, this is how life is. is, and this is how this person is. And so we just accept it, and we get mad, and we Facebook about it, and we call other people about it, and we think about it in the middle of the night, we wake up about it, and what happens is you're creating this monster in your life. So stop it, my dear children. And again, this is what I don't want, and then turn your thoughts. Turn your cheek to what do I want, and God will answer you with thoughts, people, circumstances, and events that will give you, and it leads you to another life. So then, one last step on this is you bless that. So bless your ex, for example, or bless the deal that went south, because if you wouldn't have had that, you wouldn't have been in a position to be able to ask for this better life. And that's why everything is getting better and better from here on out for all of you, dear souls.
Dr. Hank, how do people reach out to you if they want to, work with you on helping improve their mindset and get mindset coaching? Is there an email address? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah. Best way is Dr. Hank for Dr. Hank, Dr. Hank at drhank.biz, B-I-Z. So drhank at drhank.biz, or you can call me. My number is 214-753-7204. That I have plenty of time because I say I do. That's the other thing to stop doing. Stop saying I don't have enough time. Because what happens is that your subconscious says, all righty, I'll make sure you don't have enough time. And so I literally have thousands of agents, and that I have all kinds of things, and grandchildren, and I travel all the time, and I have plenty of time. And why? Because my subconscious mind makes my life the way that I want it.
That's been, that's really powerful. I think for a lot of people on this that have been listening are very high driver personalities. And sometimes that intensity can actually, create a wall, just like you were saying with my example, it can create a wall and to create some friction or contrast to keep you from getting what you want. And so I also love the that process of the multi-sensory impact through touch it, see it, feel it, speak it out loud, write it down as a way to access your subconscious mind. And I love, one of those questions I really loved you asked was, what do I want? What do I really want? And really think about what you want and how it would make you feel, because that can ultimately power you by via accessing the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind to help you actually get it. And so,
amen. You bet. If I can,
I got a lot of notes here. This has been great.
If I can, I want to just leave one last thing, and this is this belief about that I can't change other people. And so I'm going to give you an example, real life example of mine. So I'm driving to meet Sharon, my wife's parents, for the first time. And Sharon starts telling me, listen, my dad, and his name, by the way, is Sledge, like sledgehammer, so already it's a little scary, right? And she goes, hey, listen, my dad isn't going to talk to me. He's not going to talk to you. He's not going to be nice to you. He's not going to give you eye contact. And I realized that Sharon had this belief because of her past experiences, which most of our past experiences are not our friend. And so I shared with her that I realized I couldn't tell her, no, that's not true, because she believed that. That was her belief. So instead, in my own mind, when she said he's not going to talk to you, I said he's going to talk to me. And when she said he wouldn't look me in the eye, I said he's going to look me in the eye. And we're not going to have a very good time. I'm going to have a great time. So I walk in, and Sledge is there, and he kind of goes hi and doesn't look at me, Within about 2 minutes, he starts talking to me. And, Sharon said he'll never say your name either, So he's talking. He goes, hey, let me show you my guns in the office. And I think, oh, shit, the guns. So anyways, we're having a great time, okay? Because what I've done is I've become irresistible. Okay, no matter how much he wants to be, because he's never been nice to any of Sharon's boyfriends or husbands. And so because of that she had this belief on how he was, but I became irresistible because I decided this is how we're going to have this game. So we had this time together. So we have a great time. He's got his arm around me. We're walking outside out of the office. We're cooking together, have a great time. Afterwards, we get in the car, and Sharon says to me, God, I'm really, really concerned. And I go, really? What's wrong? She goes, well, it's my dad. And I go, what? What's wrong with your dad? She goes, well, he was just too nice to you. And so if I can change Sledge, you all have the power to change whoever it is. And if you think you don't, just bless them, let them go, don't think about them anymore, and move on. Wish them well. And speaking of that, I wish all of you prosperity and health and wealth and all the abundance, and for all your dreams to come true.
Hey, Dr. Haig, before you go, you said something I have to extract, and I got to ask before you go. So there's this saying that the teacher shows up when the student's ready.
Yeah.
So if let's say, for example, you hire somebody to your team, and a month or two in, you realize that they're not in a mind space to want to be taught, and they don't want to be a teacher. Do you feel like as a leader, and maybe their boss or whatever role it is you're serving, do you feel like you should be able to change that about them? Or do you feel like if somebody has already made up in their mind that they don't want to be a student at that time, and be coachable, that you need to just part ways?
Yep. So first of all, that all people can be alpha to the omega. Sledge can be nice or not nice. An employee can be a good salesperson or not a good salesperson. And so really what you have described here, Chris, is what most people do. And they look at what is. They look at what's going on and currently. So, hey, the first couple of weeks, this person isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not selling, or whatever their function or responsibilities are. And so we're looking at what is. None of us, and I can guarantee you in that situation, that nobody ever said, you know what, this is an inside job, and I'm going to pray for this person. And I'm going to see this person as being productive, as following directions, as really progressing and becoming successful with me. When you change like that, your attitude, and have that prayer works, folks. And that, in fact, in my PhD, I did an analysis on, we prayed for one wing of people. They had cancer in both wings. We prayed for one wing, and they didn't know about it, and the other wing we didn't pray for. And statistically, they significantly increased their health and became well, the ones that we prayed for. So prayer works, whether people know you're praying for them or not. And in fact, an excellent thing for all of us to do is to pray right now, like afterwards, just pray for someone, maybe someone that's hurting a little, or someone that's ill, or someone that you're mad at. Pray for them, because see, this mad at, your city isn't the city you live in. The city that you live in is a city with the people in your mind. And so are you going to be friends with them or not? So anyways, to bless them and do them. So back to this situation, let's do the inside job first and see this person the way that we want. And I will guarantee you within it instantly happens, but you may not see it, going on. But within days, that you'll see those people change, because what we've done is we've just looked at what is and said, well, this is what is, so we're getting rid of them. Where we never did the inside job of how we wanted to see them be. So for those of you that are managers right now, pray for your sales force and pray for them to be successful, for them to be happy, for them to succeed, and for them to have wealth. And then, and if you want me to do your whole sales force, I do the same for your whole sales force, and we'll turn them around and, in 7 days.
Dr. Haig, thank you so much for your time. I know we're way over. We've been out here for almost an hour and a half. So yeah. I know your time is incredibly valuable. And I'm looking forward to picking up your new book. Your new book called it's called Your Royal Road to Riches. I'm going to be ordering a copy of that. And I can't thank you enough for your time. I've taken 2 pages of notes here.
Hey, Chris, you're awesome. I just love CEO secrets and what you're doing out there to help all of us to become our greatest possibility. For all of you, if you will take some of what I have asked you to do and just do it for a little while, you'll see some magic happen in your life. Love you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bless you guys.